I'm learning in my 40s. Welcome back to the series. We were on a little bit of an Easter getaway there. No great internet, so we didn't do any of that series over the weekend, but I'm excited to be back to you, sharing the little bit of wisdom that I've accumulated over the 40 years of walking the planet Earth and 20 years of leadership, leading all sorts of people from all walks of life. And I think that it's so important that we pass wisdom from generation to generation, from leader to leader, because there's two ways we can learn. We can learn from our experience, and life is far too short and there are far too many experiences for that to be the only way that we learn. Trial and error leads every generation to start over. It leaves every person connected to somebody else learning the same lessons. It's a lot of rework, but if we can successfully pass that wisdom along, we can get quantum leaps in achievement and development, because we don't have to spend our time and our experience and our resources learning from experience. We can learn from other people's experiences. And that's a really, really powerful thing. It's a very, very powerful thing. So I want to share with you 40 things that I'm learning in my 40s. This was inspired by a book called The Everyday Hero by Robin Sharma, where he talks about 40 things he wished he'd known in his 40s. And so today, what I want to share with you is this truth. He says this: 40 things that I'm learning in my 40s, that the way people make you feel when they interact with you tells you all you need to know about them. That the way people make you feel when they interact with you tells you all you need to know about them. Now, I'm not a big feelings guy. I have feelings. I think feelings are good. They're useful, that God gave us feelings for a reason. But feelings are liars, right? And they're terrible leaders, and they change a lot. And so banking a lot on feelings in most areas of our life is probably not the most stable or wise choice. But when it comes to people, when it comes to connecting with people, you have a vibe detector, right? You have something on the inside of you that attracts to certain people or repels from certain people, and learning how to trust that, making sure that's set to true north, right? Because some of you are great at attracting the people you don't want in your life. You've got a track record of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about learning to trust that instinct with people, especially with higher level people that present themselves well, but you just know that there's something not quite right about this person. You know, I'm not a gossiper. I'm not going to share any gossip. I'm not going to share any names, but a friend of mine who we've supported in ministry for a long time has been like making these really cryptic posts about, like, you know, somebody's going to go down all these things. And then he shared something the other day, and there was a gentleman who was in church leadership in the state of Ohio that's now been charged with like multiple counts of like sexual abuse and all sorts of other things, really nasty stuff. And apparently my friend had worked underneath this person and had been sort of like whistleblowing on him for a while, and was met with a lot of opposition. And I did a little bit of research on it, and hey, look, innocent until proven guilty. Anybody can say anything they want for any reason they want about anyone they want. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of crucifixion in the court of public opinion. I don't think that that's the right way to go. We have a justice system and a legal process for a reason. Okay, but, and it's a big but, okay, but as I did a little bit more research, I looked at this guy's last name. I said, that's weird. I know this name from somewhere. So I did a little bit more research, and it ends up that the man being charged with the crimes, his father is a pastor. He's the head pastor of the church that this younger generation fellow who's charged with these criminal activities works out. And I knew that name, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, because that man came and spoke at a church that Jess and I worked at. And he was very well spoken, and his message was pretty good, but I just didn't vibe with this guy at all. I couldn't tell you what it was about him. I remember telling my wife, I don't like this guy. I don't know why, but something just doesn't sit right with him. And I literally never thought about this man again. This is almost 20 years ago, right? But I see his last name and I do the research, and I'm like, this is the dad of the guy who's being charged with all these crimes. This guy is being now accused of covering up all of the crimes of the son for many, many, many years, right? So he may find himself in trouble if those claims are legitimate. And I just knew that I knew. So I don't know why, but I have no interest in connecting with you. I have no interest in, and he was like a prominent sort of person. Everybody wanted to know this man. Everybody wanted to be connected with him. Everybody wanted to be in his good graces. But I just had no interest for whatever reason. Okay. And listen, I'm not always the best at this, but I've learned over a long period of time to do two things. Trust that initial instinct, number one, and believe people's actions, not words. Trust the instinct, believe the actions. Trust the instinct and believe the actions. And as a leader, we're programmed to see the best in people. We are taught and conditioned to look at people's potential and to call that out of them. And that's a really important role in life. Somebody at some point has got to have a vision for you when you don't have a vision for you. They need to believe in you until you believe in you. This is really, really important. But what I erred on along the way a lot was that I let my hope and my desire and my belief in somebody's potential to cloud my judgment based on what they were doing at the time. I'd look at this, I'd say, well, I know they're doing that, but I see so much more for them. Or I think that I could fix them, or if they just plugged in, they could get better. And I was unwilling to listen to the actions and more willing to listen to the words. And every single time that I found myself in that place, it came back and it burned me. I gave people too much of the benefit of the doubt. Their behavior was not in alignment with their words or their potential, but I couldn't see that. I wanted so badly for what I saw in them to come to fruition that I was willing to overlook what they really were at that time and how they were really acting. Okay, and so listen, that the way people make you feel when you interact with them tells you everything that you need to know about them. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. You know, I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes the other day. He said, have you ever noticed sometimes you just have a hard time connecting with people, even people you want to connect with or you're trying to be good with, and it just doesn't take hold? Has that ever happened? He's happened to me before. He said this, he said, those people are not connected with you. They're angry at your anointing. They don't like what you're carrying. They don't like the gift you're carrying. They don't like the anointing you're carrying. They don't like the God who's being carried around on the inside of you. They don't like that. They dislike those things. And so maybe they don't open the doors for you that otherwise would have been pretty normal. And so this is a really interesting thing, right? Learning to listen to that instinct. Like, not everyone is for you. Not everyone is for you, not like cheering for you, but like as a part of your purpose. Not everybody's a part of that purpose. Not everybody is called to relationship with you. Not everybody is supposed to go with you to where you're going. And learning that lesson has saved me much heartache and much trial and much trauma, because learning to stay away from those problematic people or once they show you who they are, to believe them. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? Okay. And man, listen, some of you, you're on chance 77. Now, Jesus said, he said, how many times should we forgive him? 7 times? He said, no, 7 times 70, right? Okay. So 490 times or whatever that amount of times is. That's a lot of times to forgive. But forgiveness is different than relationship. You can forgive somebody without being in relationship with them. You can forgive somebody without giving them intimate access to your life. You can forgive somebody without allowing yourself to be influenced by that same person, right? And so this is a really great truth. There's nuance there. There's a lot of, at the surface, seemingly conflicting advice, right? God's saying, forgive them 7 times 70. But yet we're supposed to keep our distance from people who are not called us. Well, how do we know? How do we know those things? And learning to trust your gut and learning to believe people's behaviors. Behaviors are greater than words. If people continue to harm you, then their sorry is worthless. Sorry is the word they say to get you off the scent, right? Apologizing, making it up to you is what they do to continue to be able to manipulate you. And so learning to trust what people do over what people say is really, really, really important. And we watch this today in our political world all the time, right? Okay, you see these politicians, and they will literally say anything to anybody to get a vote and to get approval. right? Like, you ever watch the mashups where they take the same politician talking to two different, I'll never do this, I will immediately do this, and it's the same thing. Well, those both can't be true. And yet both groups of people believe the words instead of the actions, okay? But we always do what we want to do. We always do what we want to do. This is an important truth, right? Because we always do what we want to do, our actions show us the condition of our heart. When the rubber meets the road, it shows us what is actually important in the lives of the people that we're listening to. And so we've got to learn how to believe them. We've got to learn how to believe them. When people treat you poorly, believe them, that's how they feel about you. When people don't give you their time, believe them. When they're showing you your place in their life, when people have you on a low rung on their totem pole, trust that. Okay, don't allow people's words to shadow your judgment of their actions. Understand, not everybody's for you. Not everybody's going to go to where you're going. And I, for one, listen, I don't have time for people that aren't part of my assignment in my life. Now look, if God calls us to love them, we can love them, right? We can want the best for them. We can pray for them. We can do all those things, but we don't have to be in relationship. We don't have to be in connection. They don't automatically deserve a seat at the table or access to our time, right? And so learning how to be okay with that and to be able to see yourself not as a bad person, not as a selfish person, but as somebody who has boundaries and standards and honors those boundaries and standards. And it's by honoring the boundaries and standards with the people that aren't supposed to be part of your life that you become most effective for the people that are supposed to be part of your life. Every time, every resource, every emotional investment that you make into the wrong people is a lack of time, resource, and investment to be made into the right people. And that was what helped me understand that, because I felt bad. John Maxwell is one of my mentors, and one of the questions I asked him is, John, he teaches a concept that love is unconditional. We need to unconditionally love people. And it's not his concept, that's Jesus's concept, but he's lived it out better than most people that I know. And so I said, John, how do we reconcile loving people unconditionally with the 80-20 rule that you teach, which says 80% of the production comes from 20% of the people? And so we've got to learn how to identify and invest into those 20% and how to minimize time and investment into the 80. How do you unconditionally love somebody if you're unwilling to even begin a relationship with them or give them time to create that connection? How do you do that? He said something really, really profound. He said, my love is free, but my time is earned. My love is free, but my attention is earned. My love is free, but my access is earned. And he said, you can love somebody. Jesus loved everybody, but he didn't spend time with everybody. In fact, there were people he didn't want to spend very much time with at all. He still loved them. He still died for them. He still made a way for them, but they weren't part of that purpose and plan in that season. And so it's possible to love people at a distance. It's possible to love people and to love them well by creating some of those boundaries and learning how to trust that instinct and that recognition of behavior patterns. So 40 things that I'm learning in my 40s, okay, that the way people make you feel when you interact with them tells you everything you need to know about them. Okay, people are speaking with their actions. Believe them. They say, I want to do all these big things, but they're not doing anything about it. Believe them. Oh, I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna do that next, but they're not taking action. Believe them. Well, I'm gonna change, honey. I promise you're not gonna. Believe them. Believe them. Our world would be such a better place and so much less hurtful if we could learn to believe what people do instead of just what they say. Okay, there are a world full of great talkers, you all, but a world full of a lot less great doers, great livers, great leaders, people who actually live and embody the message, who are consistent over long periods of time, doing the things they said they were going to do. Okay, and this is a great leadership nugget. When what you say and what you do match, you invoke the principle of consistency. That is what people expect of you, and what you deliver to them are one and the same. And so that builds a lot of trust, okay, and a lot of integrity with you to other people. And when we violate those things, our trust and integrity meters go way, way, way down. Now, look, I'm absolutely not perfect. Okay. I'm sure I've messed up more times than I can count. Okay. I'm positive of that. I'm positive. But one of the things I've always tried to do is to do my best to come through on the things that I said that I was going to do. Even when it's hard, even when it's impossible, I still try to do that. Doesn't mean I'm always successful, right? But it means that my effort and my intention is always there, right? And we want to live that way. We want to judge other people, okay, by their actions, and we need to judge ourselves by that as well, right? Okay, so learning to listen to the instinct that speaks to you, and then judging people not by what they say, but by what they do. Believing the actions over the words allows us to live in a place where people can show us quickly and effectively who they are, what they're about, and whether they are part of our process, whether they're a main character in the story, a supporting actor, an extra, or aren't included at all. This is really, really good teaching. The question for you today is can you identify with this? Have you ever been burned by somebody where in hindsight you could see the red flags, but you didn't want to see them? Right? There was some need being met. You were glad somebody was taking interest in you. You thought there might be an opportunity. You thought this person could open a door for you. You felt like maybe they had influence that they could give to you in some way. And so you bypass the red flags only to find out later that those red flags were there for a reason. They were there for a reason. That was your intuition. That was your instinct. That was maybe the Lord saying, hey, this person is not for you. Doesn't mean they're a bad person, but this person is not for you at this time and at this season. And learning to be okay with that and understanding that people are not our source, God is our source. See, when people are your source, you'll dance for them. You will compromise. You will overlook those red flags because you believe that they can do something for you. But folks, people are not your source. God is your source. God can cause your name to be in rooms that you've never walked in. He can cause you to have favor that it would take you 100 lifetimes to build on your own. He can bring you the right deal, the right person. He can open those right doors. You don't need to push them over. Listen, the hardest things in my life have always come from the doors that I had to charge down and push open with everything in me, overlooking all of the obstacles that were there along the way, warning me, hey, this might not be the right path. Doesn't mean that God's path is always easy. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But there are things that we can see that say, hey, you know what? This is probably not the person I want to be involved with. I want to spend time with. I want to give access to the inner circle of influence in my life. So can you look back at a time, a person, a season, an opportunity that was rife with red flags that you overlooked because you were wanting to make it happen on your own? Can you see that? Okay, good. How do we avoid that in the future? How do we learn to trust that instinct? Say, you know what? I've been here before. I've seen this before. I'm going to trust me. My calling is too valuable. My calling is too valuable. My destiny too great to waste even 1 minute, 1 tear, 1 hour on the wrong relationships and investing into the wrong people. I hope this helps. And hey, by the way, tonight, I have a really, really exciting thing where we are pre-launching my new book, 12 Words That Change Everything. Guys, it's going to be an absolute game changer. We're giving away a free chapter of the book. It officially comes out May the 6th, but you can get a free chapter of the book tonight. And I'm going to be teaching on 3 of the 12 words that have changed everything in my life. It's totally free. All you need to do is comment the word book. If you just comment the word book, we'll send you the invite right away. Maybe tag some people in that as well who would be interested in it. Leaders are readers. Those who don't read are no better off than those who can't read. We are the sum total of the people we hang with and the books that we read. And so, man, listen, we've got to level up, and this is absolutely going to be a great tool to help you do it. I can't wait to see you all tonight.